Hi everybody. In this video clip, I just want to present a title Back to Black. So when you talk back to black, we mean black tiger shrimp. So we know the scenario of shrimp aquaculture in the country, and the last decade or so we have been doing very well with Vanami. And if you look at monodon, and up to the late 19th century it was doing very well, maybe around 96 or 97 this white spot syndrome started infecting the aquaculture sector in the country, and slowly there was serious problem. And it was that time, after a decade or so, with a lot of research and a lot of analysis, and it was decided to introduce Vanami, and it is presently called Phineas Vanami in the country. And during that time, in the late 90s, by early 20th century, and the country was seriously interested to revive the stock of Phineas monodon, and they have selected a place, Andaman, and NMC Nucleus Breeding Center, as well as the Broodstock Multiplication Center, BMC, were established. And there was an attempt to revive seriously Phineas monodon SPF stock. This SPF stock production of Phineas monodon from Andaman by the agency MPDA or GCA was not that successful for many reasons. And it is during this time Vanami was introduced, and Vanami was doing very well for the last so many years, and farmers were happy to get consistently a good production with Vanami. But now the scenario is totally changing, and Vanami also, the yield is coming down. The production has come down drastically, and we are unable to get a good production consistently. So Vanami is also not doing very well, and the yield or production per unit area has been considerably reducing, and farmers are put into stress. It is at this point of time the country or the farming community started looking for Phineas monodon. So why don't we shift to Phineas monodon? So there was a talk, discussion, deliberations took place. By 2019 October, the government of India given approval for introducing SPF Phineas monodon in the country. And there were a couple of companies came forward to supply Phineas monodon seeds, and one is Mona from Hawaii, and then we have Aquama from Madagascar, and of course CP Foods from Thailand. These are the major players participated in the expression of interest, and they started they had a commitment to supply SPF Phineas monodon seeds in the country. And now the scenario is like CP Foods as well as the Mona, they have been supplying seeds for various countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, China, and they have their NBC as well as the BMC, and for Aquama they supply largely to Malaysia and India. And now the scenario of or the outcome of this introduction of Phineas monodon SPF seeds in the country started coming up, and a company like Vaishnavi Aquatech who are in the process of taking a crop, and the result shows like they have stocked in two different formats, low stocking density and high stocking density. And low stocking density means like 8 per meter square, and high stocking density is almost like 15 per meter square. And in low stocking density they got a production, or they got a growth of almost like 45 grams in 90 days, whereas in the high stocking density they got a production, the growth of only 30 grams in 90 days, the same period. Similarly, if you look at the FCR, it is almost like 0.71 to 0.75 in the case of low stocking density, and whereas for the high stocking density it is 1.1 to 1.17. So performance wise, this SPF is doing fine, and I think farmers must be satisfied with the SPF Pinase monodon performance in the country. The only thing is we do not have adequate data available for the farming community and others to understand the capability or the performance or the quality of the brood stocks made available through these companies in the country. So that should be made available so that farmers will have a kind of a clarity on which company or which firm they have to approach to get the SPF monodon seeds. As far as Pinase monodon seeds are concerned, though India shifted to Venami around 2000, they might have shifted to Venami, but many countries stick on to Pinase monodon. For example, the countries like Sri Lanka, Australia, and they have not shifted to Venami. And India was one country we have shifted to Pinase Venami. And as far as the monodon is concerned, of course, we are not going to again completely going for Pinase monodon, and the strategy or the policy should be like should be done along with Venami, and a portion of the area we have to allot for Venami, and monodon also can be taken up along with Venami. That should be the strategy instead of doing a mono species of shrimp in the country again. And particularly for HLSO, that is headless shell-on, or HOSO, head-on shell-on, for these varieties there is a good market in EU, China and Japan. And once again, if you are going to produce the monodon of the size of Venami, then it will be a problem. The marketing will be a problem in the export market. The Venami have a specific size, and monodon should not be of the same size of Venami, because Venami will be preferred over monodon for the size sake. So monodon we need to grow a little larger and to compete in the export market. So my understanding is like this is a time we need to plan properly for shrimp aquaculture sector in the country, because we have a tradition of doing very well. Shrimp, we have been exporting to a larger countries. We are ranking number 1 now. So we need to have 3 species now made available for the farming community consistently and continuously. So one is Pinase Venami, and as I have been telling, Pinase Venami, we have got 10 million hectare of low saline area, and Venami can be restricted to those areas, those pockets where considered like a low saline area. And of course Venami will hold good for those regions. Coming to Pinase monodon, and this can survive low salinity to high salinity. It's got a wide tolerant species, and Pinase monodon can be taken up in low saline areas, brackish water areas kind of places. And for Pinase indicus, now government of India, particularly SIBA, is planning to take up Pinase indicus SPF also. And without wasting much time, we have to collaborate with certain countries who have got the research potential on these areas, and we must try to get the SPF stock of Pinase indicus developed quicker, so that the Pinase indicus can be an indigenous species representing the country, and we should be able to stock this in marine areas, marine kind of mariculture activities, and coastal areas. We can focus on indicus. So we may have 3 species, and all the 3 species can be potential species with a tremendous scope in terms of growth, in terms of disease resistance, and in terms of export as well as for indigenous market. And this is what I just want to share in this video by virtue of adding SPF Pinase monodon in the country. The scenario is slightly changing, and the policy needs to be like taking 3 important species forward in the country. Thank you so much.